Hi everyone. So we are at building better bullet points. This is the video. This is the one. We talk about building these bullet points, and we talked about how building better bullet points helps to get the meat and potatoes of your resume done. So remembering that each experience you have, if we're talking about, if you're remembering from our first module, each experience that you put into your resume should at least have 3 bullet points. Those bullet points should be well thought out. They should be no longer than 2 whole lines. So you don't want any bullet point that goes longer than 2 full lines. Again, if you're at 10-point font and you're pulling out those margins, you should have enough room to build a concise, kind of well thought out bullet point. And this is how we do it. Okay, so we've worked through the structure, we've worked through value, we've worked through skills. We're now putting into practice building the final parts of these resume. These are the bullet points. I've been talking about the bullet points, right? And here we are. I'm sorry, I'm going zooming in and out a little bit here. I just want to get the right, there we go. In these 30 to 60 seconds that a hiring manager is looking at your resume, you will want to stand out within the words you have laid out in your bullet points. The words, the numerical numbers, the results, the things that you are showing them, that is how we're going to do this. So we incorporate your value and skills into them, and it's easy for hiring managers to see why you are the right person for the role. Okay, 4 main elements. Okay, bullet point needs 4 main elements. So you are going to need number one, a unique action verb. We've already talked about action verbs, so please refer back to that action verb list, but also refer to the world's dictionary, right? Find the synonyms and find the verbs that describe your skills the best. This is going to start each of your bullet points with a clear description of what you're doing, right? What you did. The next piece is the what did you do? So this is the piece that most resumes already have in it. So I mopped floors. I washed windows. I led a team. I, created a project. I developed a booklet. That's the thing that I see most, honestly, in resumes. It's just, what did you do, right? So most of the time, we're just throwing in what we did, right? But we need more than that. So the third piece, third main element, and I'll talk about this, and it is optional, although I do love to challenge candidates to find ways to say how you did it, but it is the how you did it. So it's what you did, right? We want to know how you did it. Okay? So they want to know how you did it. That's a piece of information that's important for them to understand, for a hiring manager to say, this is how this person would do it for me if they did it for them in this way, or they did it in this experience in this way. It is the method or the way that you do accomplish the action. Okay, most importantly, this is the piece that I see sometimes laid out and sometimes not, but it's the outcome. Okay, this is what you accomplished in your story. This is the piece, right? This is the one thing. You take anything out of this course, take this. We want outcomes. We want learning points. We want results. We want to see what you accomplished in your story. If you feel like there was not a positive outcome, this is where you can provide what you learned. So, what did I learn from, sometimes employers ask in interviews, how did you handle a mistake? Right. And the thing is that we're all going to make mistakes. We are all humans, and mistakes are going to happen. And not all of our experiences are going to be positive. I have had not positive experiences because I am a human. And so, knowing that, the thing is what did you learn from that, right? So now, resume is a highlights reel, so likely we're not putting things that don't have positive outcomes on it. We don't have to put everything we've done, right? But we can talk about them when we're interviewing and networking and all that good stuff. So that's for a later time. For here, we really just want to focus on the stories that do have positive outcomes. And if you really want to include a skill set that you have and it has a negative outcome, we would provide what you did learn. Oh my gosh, we're coming back to this original example. I'm just going to read it one more time. Hopefully, you know it. But let's say you were at home cooking a meal and suddenly a vase falls off the table and breaks into pieces. What do you do? All right. This is an experience that our hypothetical experience that you've had or that we've had, and maybe a real experience that you've had as well, as I have had this actually happen. Not necessarily when I was cooking a meal, but I have had a vase fall to the floor, break, and we've had to, clean it up, all that good stuff. So, work through the value, work for the skills. All right, let's choose one of these skills to work on building the bullet point and review. So we're just going to take, did you respond immediately? This is the piece we're going to actually work on, and we're going to work on this together. We're going to build this bullet point quasi together, right? Because we're sort of together, maybe not in this moment in time, but we're here. I'm through video and you're at home or at work or wherever you're at, kind of taking this in. So let's do it. So we're going to take the did you respond immediately action, this skill that we found, the taking initiative, the reacting to a problem quickly, that sort of thing as the actual skill bullet point that we're going to build. All right, we need to incorporate the 4 elements of the bullet point into the example. Number 1, a unique action verb to clearly describe the action of your story. All right, we know our story, we know what we did, we reacted quickly. What we're going to do is we're going to actually expand on this story as we build this bullet point, but for now, we're going to really talk about the action verbs. So I just want to give a tip. I would recommend that your action verbs are in past tense. Okay. I have a lot of people say, well, if this is experience I'm having right now, I should put it in present tense. Okay. That's fine. I've actually seen people do one way or another, and it's not going to make or break where you're at. But the way that I kind of understand the way that that employers or hiring managers are seeing this, it's things that you have mastered through your experience, not necessarily things that you're doing now. So I always like to say this, and you'll hear me say this again in a different video, but just because you did something doesn't mean you did it well. Okay, I'm going to say that again because it's important. It doesn't mean you didn't do it well. I'm just saying, just because you did something doesn't mean the hiring manager knows that you did it well. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're putting our bullet points in past tense because these are things that we have mastered and have already experienced and already done. Even if you're in a present experience, even if it's, hey, I've been at this job for 10 years, they want to know, what have you done? All right, not necessarily what you're currently doing, but what are you doing? Okay, so unique action verb. So I'm going to come down. All right, final bullet point. All right, I'm going to pull it all the way up here. We need a final bullet point for this experience. So, so the person, like I said, in our hypothetical situation, this person took action. Okay, they took initiative. This is the skill set we want to provide. I'm really good at taking initiative. And so I am going to actually use the word, because this is kind of an easy one. This is an actually very simple example, by the way. A lot of experiences are not this simple, but we're giving it in simple terms so that you can think about your maybe more complex experiences. But initiated action. All right, I'm going to come up. I started with my unique action verb. All right. I'm actually going to delete this action. You're going to see me do this. Delete, add, delete, add. That's how this process should go. Okay. We're just going to start with initiated. Okay. Okay. What did you do? This is a piece that's most, oh, look at this. Typo. That's okay. What did you do? This is the piece that most resumes already have in them. Okay. So initiated, what did I do? We responded to a vase falling on the floor and breaking into a million pieces. So I'm going to say we initiated response to, let's see, a vase shards after falling on the floor. Again, we're just starting here. We can always go back and reword smith this, but we just need to get the pieces in. So we've got number one, initiated. We got number two, initiated response to vase shards after falling on the floor. Meh, I don't really love that. So maybe initiated response to shards from a vase after falling on the floor. Okay, I like that better. How? This is the piece that I don't see people normally have in it. Um, how did you do it? All right, so how did we do that? And I think maybe we're all sitting here thinking, how would we do that? And the answer is, and again, we're using a very simple example, but in my head, when I think about this situation, I go to the closet, I get the broom, and I start cleaning it up. Now let's get creative. You could clean it with the broom, and maybe that's what you would have done, and you would have grabbed the dustpan and you would have, pulled it all in. I think, if we're talking about our skills, we want to talk about the creative ways that we did this. So in my head, just doing it with a dust pan and a broom, it really only it could leave room for error, right? I know I've done I've swept something up and there's still a little bit of stuff on the ground, right? So possibly doing it the broom and dustpan method, which would still work here. We could put, by cleaning it up with a broom and a dustpan. But I think one thing that I have done in the past is used a vacuum, right? So I would sweep it up and then I would use the vacuum to ensure, right, that this is not a problem anymore. So I'm going to actually say my how is by vacuuming, and it's past tense, right? So by vacuuming um, the remains. Actually, yeah, by the remains of the vase. Okay. So my how is my vacuuming. And again, this can get a lot more complicated as we move up. And my result, right? So I'm going to pull back up the outcome, most important piece. The outcome describes what happened as a result of your actions. So let's see. Vacuuming. So I'm going to say by vacuuming the remains of the vase, and my outcome here is to ensure, or actually ensuring, there, let's see, ensuring no glass was left on the floor and it was safe to walk on moving forward. I'm going to hope that this is, I know this looks like three lines, but remember we want 2 lines, and in your resume, in your structure, you're going to be watching for that, right? Okay, I'm going to go backwards because great, we've got our pieces, but now we need to wordsmith this. You saw me go, and literally I made this up as we are going here. And that's good because you need to think about what you did and you have to find the right words and the right actual outcomes, and the hows and the whys of what it was, and the whats, I should say. Initiate a response to shards. Now I'm going to go back and kind of reword. So initiate response to glass shards, right? I didn't even mention that it was glass. That immediately should say, whoa, this was a dangerous situation. From vase after falling on the floor by vacuuming the remains. And you know what? I don't even need of the vase, right? Vacuuming the remains, ensuring no glass was left. And actually, I probably don't even need on the floor. Ensuring no glass was left and it was safe to walk on moving forward. That doesn't sound right. It was safe to walk. I would actually say safe for people to walk on, to walk. And actually, we never want to end with a preposition, which is on. But we could say it was safe. Let's see. It was safe for, we'll just call it safe for people to walk. All right. Again, very simple response built into a bullet point that has been developed. Final bullet point. All right. I want to do one that's actually more related to work and has a couple pieces of the outcome in here. I want to talk about numbers. I don't actually have this in here for numbers, but I do want to talk about numbers. So I'm going to give us a short example here, and then we're going to do this again. Example bullet point 2. All right. So okay, actually I'm going to make this, there we go. Let's give another example. So let's just say, imagine in your head, you were working, maybe you've done this before, you were working on a project, and that project was meant to make the company money. Let's say you were actually developing an event where you were selling tickets for a service, or let's say a conference. Look at me. This is what we got to do. We got to imagine. We got to not necessarily imagine, but you really got to think about your experiences. So, backing up, our example is we are, developing and executing an event. It's a conference for a certain industry, whatever that industry, you can, whatever industry you want it to be, for people to attend. All right. And that is going to help people, learn something about whatever the topic is in your industry. So actually, I'm already thinking, man, we have. I said a few action verbs. We're going to start with our action verb, but let's figure out the skill set here that I want to use. So I think the skill set can be. I'm just again thinking about what it takes to build an event. I've done that before, and definitely organization, so important, down to the details. You just have to be so organized. So but I actually did use the term executed, and I think that that's a nice term to kind of describe that. We did a final action here. We executed an event. Okay. And that's sort of both the first piece, an action verb, and a second piece, what did you do? Well, I could stop there. Executed an event, period. Right? That's what I did. But we don't want to stop there. We want to talk about the how and the why. So I'm going to build on this a little bit. So executed an event to teach, let's just say, stakeholders about a topic, right? Stakeholders can be staff, it can be, teammates. You can insert whatever you'd like there. Same with topic. Can be about, trees. It can be about growing. It can be about anything, right? It doesn't matter. It's a conference. It's an event. We're here to teach people. All right. So we've expanded. What was our outcome? Right? And our outcome is maybe to teach stakeholders about a topic. How did we do this? Let's talk about how. I know I skipped to outcome. I did that because we already had put our outcome in here. A lot of times the how can be skipped. So let's talk about how we did this. And I mentioned the skill set as organization, right? So this is where your skill could actually become the how of the situation, right? So I executed an event through strong organization to teach stakeholders about a topic, period. All right. Awesome. We're continuing to build, but let's not stop there. We have to figure out. I want to talk. This example is really meant to talk about how we can place numbers in our resume to quantify what we're doing. So let's just see, where can we put some numbers in? So executed an event. Maybe I executed 2 events per year. And I'm now expanding. Executed 2 events per year through strong organization to teach possibly 1,000 plus stakeholders about a topic. All right. And so you can see this is where we're starting to put numbers in. The more numbers you have and the more you can quantify your outcomes or quantify anything in there, the how you did it, the what you did, the outcome, those hiring managers are going to look at that first, right? Wow, look at those numbers. Those are great numbers. what's the difference is that when you don't have these numbers, I don't know if I taught one stakeholder or if I taught thousands of stakeholders, right? So anytime you can look for numbers in your situation. Even better is if you are really struggling on what to do with this outcome. Okay? If you're struggling to figure out the outcome, let's say you're like, I know I did an event, I just don't know. I don't know what this outcome is, and I'm not sure what I did. This is where you can ask yourself, who did you help? Did you help yourself learn something? Did you help a team member learn or accomplish something? Did you help the organization gain something? Say maybe this event, see, I went the route of teaching, right? Showing that we taught 1,000 plus stakeholders, right? Maybe the job description is really important to show professional development and how we taught somebody how to do something. But maybe the organization is profitable and wants to see if you can execute an event that will give you that will make the company money. I mean, honestly, sometimes that's the bottom line. And so, if you help the organization do that, maybe executed 2 events per year through strong organization to gain $100,000 in profit for the company. That's the exact same experience doing 2 different things. And now if my position description is asking for how can you help me teach people, then I'm going to put that first example in. If the job description is asking for how can you help us make money and be profitable, then I will put this in the in the piece, in the outcome. All right, so notice how I took one experience and I pulled out the piece that made sense for the job description. Okay, so honestly, that is it. That is how you build your bullet points. I'm hoping that this is helpful. I hope that you can practice this. I'll do a video on a final practice piece that you can kind of work through, but it will be sort of the same process. So enjoy this process. It can be hard, but I'm so happy that you are able